3, 2, 1.
All right,
Hello.
Sean. You said, okay. I mean, I thought I was supposed to start off first.
Nah, I do the initial intro.
All right, go.
'Cause- Okay.
All right,
That was funny, though. Hey, guys. Welcome back to Let's Take a Trip. Today, I'm joined with my best friend, Tamim Sayidi.
Hello.
And yeah, my bad. Go ahead. I cut you off again. This is funny as shit.
Let's start over.
No, this is the good shit.
What do you mean?
This is the good shit. You know, this
All
is what the
right,
people came
what were
with.
you gonna
the
say?
raw,
I mean,
I was just saying we're here to discuss about passions and hobbies and what it takes to become a content creator in the world we live in today. Just along those lines. So I hope you guys enjoy what this podcast entails today. And Tamim,
Sean, where are we taking our trip to now?
we're taking our trip to exploring one's mind in terms of creativity. So I know you more recently have been getting into the space of content creation. And for background context, Tamim and I have both had multiple YouTube channels since a very young age. You know, stepping back to when everyone had a YouTube channel back in 2008, creating oversaturated gaming content. And those were some really, really fun and fine days. And back then especially, I felt like we had a lot more passion and drive to create versus growing up now.
Debatable. Before, I mean, we were there, but like, it wasn't. I didn't feel a fire in it like I do now.
You didn't feel the fire, and then compared to back then, do
Right,
you do
back
now?
then.
Really? Tell me
Yeah.
more about that, because I'm the complete opposite.
All
I
right,
don't
so-
feel any fire anymore, personally. But that's
I mean,
just a
we're in the
personal-
middle of doing something that, I mean, I feel like you have more fire than before too, because, I mean, we're in the middle of this discussion. You got all the gear set up. You got the idea of what you want to do.
True.
It's not gaming,
True.
but it's still further. I think a lot further than we've been before.
You're not wrong.
So I mean, compared to before I learned a lot more about the content that I want to create since then, and so
Okay.
I mean, we'll get into that in a
Fair.
second, but I feel like I have a lot more fire than I did before because of knowing a lot more about how the industry works.
That's true. I think that's a big point. For me, personally, back then, and it's kind of a cynical way to look at it, right? Because back then, I felt a lot more drive because of the fact that it was solely a hobby and I didn't seek validation, nor did I seek monetary compensation out of posting those videos, right? But now, and speaking in an idealistic and realistic sense, I don't view anything inherently wrong with doing something expecting monetary compensation. And that's very debatable, right?
I feel
Because
that, yeah.
you shouldn't do things as a transaction. Like, if I do something for you, I shouldn't do it because I want you to pay me back, right? That's not the context I'm talking about. I'm talking about doing work for something and wanting to get something out of it, right? Whether that be subscribers, likes, views, or money. But I feel like growing up and becoming adult, you know, entering the workforce, going through what we went through, and also because we know our own lives, we tackle our family's debt, right? And the thought of debt is almost ever present at all times in my day personally. So whenever I look for different avenues and possible income streams, now it's not just I want to do this because I enjoy it, which I very much do. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't enjoy it. I wouldn't invest all this money in equipment if I didn't enjoy it. But the thought of wanting to get money out of it is still there. And I feel like it's an internal battle within my head about, is that inherently wrong? How do you view that?
So I was thinking about this morning too. I was thinking about the why people want to get into content creation in general.
Yeah.
I thought about money. Like, usually people want to get into it for the money, right?
Yeah.
But I think the people that think that way, they do have an interest in wanting to get into it and to make the money, and because it looks like fun. But those are probably the people that don't realize how much work actually goes into it and behind the scenes. So yeah, there's an interest there.
Yeah.
But if people go into it for the money, and I mean, more power to them because they want the money. I think a lot of people feel the same way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's kind of like I don't want to say predestined. It almost feels that way, that you're kind of setting yourself up for not so much success, because if money is the only thing you have in mind when you want to get into this, and it seems easy when there's a whole bunch of planning and dedication and commitment behind the scenes to everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's a fine choice,
Yeah.
but unless you have a really good idea or you already know, like everything just flows for you, getting into it for that reason is not going to let you get very far.
Yeah. I feel like if money is the only thing on your mind, then you don't have that creative flow and all-time high drive to accomplish your dreams, right? Because it's a very one-dimensional goal. And like I said earlier, I don't shun people for wanting to do things for money, but I don't think you should do something solely off the basis.
And that brings us to our why.
Yeah, your why. What is your why? What would you consider your why for wanting to do the things that you do and pursuing content creation now, and compared to back then?
So what I really wanted to get into it for was originally same things. I wanted to get into it not really so much for the money, but because it looked like fun and I wanted to play games and everything.
Yeah.
But at some point recently, I realized like, okay, I know it's much more work than just playing games or just like putting together an idea on a video or something. But
yeah,
making something that gives you a sense of accomplishment or achievement, I wanted a feeling of that, and to just have fun with the people that you meet in that industry.
Yeah.
And so that's a big reason recently as to my why.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't make me unique in any way. A lot of people feel the same way, and that's why they get into it too.
Yeah.
It's how you go about learning the skills or putting together your experience on actually going through with it. So that's my why.
Mm-hmm.
I've been learning the how now and more like the what.
That's true. Because you could always have your reason for why you want to do the things you do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like it's a really, really I feel like it's a really overset things that once you have your why, it doesn't matter how you go about things, as long as you do, you will inevitably over time get far, right? But then, when you and I'm sure you've seen it a lot, right? When you want to get into, say, for example, streaming, right? Or any sort of content creation, video making, they always say, what's the number one thing that people, big fucking YouTubers who have millions of subscribers and all this goddamn equipment worth hundreds of thousands, what do they always say? Gear doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I say that's bullshit. I say that's bullshit.
You think that's bullshit?
You fuck I look like watching a fucking little ass kid, 12-year-old with a potato ass Samsung Galaxy S6 recording his Minecraft game. Fuck that, bro.
There's
no cap. Like, I know that's some asshole dickish shit, but I'm not gonna watch that shit. But it's not high quality, bro.
You have a point. But I think a lot of the things, or a lot of what, at least as far as I've seen that people say why they say that the gear doesn't matter. The gear does matter. It's just what gear should you go with is what matters. Going for like a $5,000 camera isn't gonna get you anything if your audio and your lighting is garbage.
That's facts. That's facts. Yeah,
I mean, a lot of people have the best camera in their pockets, which is their phone, and I'm sure you hear everyone saying that, like MKBHD, any kind of tech reviewer or content creator on YouTube.
Yeah,
they'll say the same thing, that you have the best phone in your pocket. You do. Most people have the iPhone. You might be out of luck if you have an Android. But I mean, it's still better than nothing. It's probably much better than your webcam mic. And as long as you have the right lighting, you can make it look like a $5,000 camera.
That's facts.
With the right lighting, and you probably don't even need the best microphones. Nice. You can stay with something a little more on the budget side and make it sound like a $400, $500 dynamic mic.
That's true.
Yeah, in a sense that
it would just piss me off the way they worded it. I hate it's just the idea of this dude who has 3 million subscribers. I'm not like naming anybody specific, but it's like as like a context, this dude who has 3 million subscribers who's filming on an $8,000 red 8K camera, looking at me square in my fucking face and saying gear doesn't matter. Fuck you, you egotistical piece of shit. Like I hated that. I hated that.
He kind of right though.
I feel like if you word it in the context of gear matters, but to an extent, that would be fine. But when someone tells you gear does not matter, I hate that.
I don't see that very often. People saying gear doesn't matter, but when they do say something like that, they say you don't need this thing. They don't say gear doesn't matter. They say gear isn't as important as you might think.
I just watched the wrong people then, I think. But I think that leads me to into the discussion of like, where did you feel like you found this passion of content creation? Because I'm very fickle.
I mean, it's very, very. Where did I find it? Very recently.
Mm-hmm.
More so in watching new streamers come in and just kind of explode and look like they're having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of want a piece of that exception. They're not the rule. They're the exception. They jumped in on the right kind of niche at the right time. And that's what I saw, and I wanted a piece of that. And I saw how much their fun they were having, and I wanted a piece of that fun. Yeah. But I also thought about, damn, I really hate my job right now.
That's a big point.
I really hate my job right now, and
that is a big point.
I want to get into something that I'll find a sense of enjoyment and achievement, and look forward to working on.
Dude, that's the when you said don't enjoy my job, and I love my job where I work right now, right? But I cannot, and I never could fathom the idea of working in a corporate life for 40 years until I retire. And I think and I think you can relate to the point of like, ever since we were children, right? Because we grew up in the age of when YouTube was springing, right? 2006, 2008. You know, we saw that evolve before our eyes. And then we saw all these big YouTubers come into play. And then once you saw the possibility of making a career out of something you fucking love and seeing that become an actual possibility is what I think is the big delineation between us and like our parents' generation, right?
Oh yeah.
Because it's always you work, you retire, then you enjoy life. But in our eyes, because we saw these people that we looked up to spring up on this platform and then show us how we can make money doing what we love and enjoy life at the same exact time. And I don't want to be a fucking corporate slave for the rest of my life, bro.
Nope.
I don't.
I feel that.
I don't.
That. And there's a lot of ways to make money now. It doesn't have to be through the corporate setting. I mean, it takes a corporate setting to get started. For most people.
Most cases. I would say most cases, yeah.
Most people. It's a good place to get into. There's a lot of benefits or things that you learn from it. But like I feel you there. It's not the move long term.
It's not the
move long term.
It's just not.
And finding a way out, it might be a little tough for people who don't know where to look.
True.
And so,
that's true. I feel like we got lucky. Not lucky. I hate when I say I got lucky, right? Because I feel like luck is always a factor in a lot of things, right? Yeah. And depending on your beliefs,
I think the word you're looking for is fortunate.
Yeah, fortunate. And I've read a couple of books. One by, what was his name? Tim Ferriss, and one by something Cleon, which talked about how luck is a factor in a lot of things, right? But the way I look at it is that I don't view my successes from luck. I view my successes as working towards my goal, but also having a bit of fortune and God on my side, right? So I lost my train of thought. That's really annoying. I had a really good point going.
You're talking about how luck is important in terms of it's an important factor of something like success.
Oh yeah, because we got into Europe. We worked hard enough to the point where you got converted at your contingent contract into a contract for your company and then into a full-time, and that got your ball rolling, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, you still took the initiative to take the first step to get into that place in the first place, right? You just not a fucking corporate man didn't come up to your doorstep and offer you an offer letter, right?
It takes true desire to actually get something that you want to get into.
Exactly.
It takes commitment and determination and just like the feeling of not wanting to be complacent anymore.
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing.
The biggest thing is complacency.
It's the biggest pushing factor. Well, one of the biggest pushing factors. But that's that pure desire of wanting to move out of where you are, to just move.
Yeah. In general. But I feel like complacency is the biggest killer to like motivation too at the same time, because you get comfortable. Yep. The feeling of comfortability is the worst.
Oh yeah, and that's I think one thing that kills people's passions and wanting to jump into what they're actually, what they actually love to do. Like someone in my position might be wanting to do something like content creation, like making videos, YouTube videos, photography, podcast, art, music. They might not want to jump into those things because they don't know if they can secure the money. And so that's why they stay in the corporate setting and not wanting to move into what they love. And that comfort will just give them complacency. They sit in the same spot over a couple of years, maybe move to another job. It's the same thing. And that isn't a bad thing because you're still making bank.
Yeah.
But the drive to want to do something you love and feel that sense of achievement, you can get that in other ways. But
you could.
For us right now,
I feel like, especially in our generation, it's very much emphasized to not rely on one stream of income to get you to financial freedom, right? But I feel like every time I see something along the lines of, hey, this is how you achieve financial freedom through these multiple income streams, it always requires more income to start that income, right? It's like, I see it so fucking often, dude, and I'm not even joking, on TikTok, where it's like, oh, you want to be financially free? Oh, stop doing this. Just find $300,000 and start a rental property. Where the fuck am I gonna get $300,000, bro? And it's so fucking annoying.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the opportunities are ever vast, right? Because I genuinely believe with the fullness of my heart that if you and I, as two regular ass dudes that nobody fucking knows, put our heart and soul in consistency into content creation and making a fan base, success is bound. It is literally bound, but it's the fact that it's not consistent within our lives that it hasn't gone there. Because imagine we started. Let's be generous.
Imagine if we stayed consistent from when we started.
When we started, I have absolutely. Oh, I got way too close. I'm so sorry. I have absolutely no doubt that we could have been at 200, 300, 400,000 subscribers by now. But it's the very fact that consistency wasn't there, that we're not at the place we always wanted.
I've been thinking about that a lot recently too. Just seeing some of my favorite streamers get into what they love to do. Like some streamers do art, just drawing, some good art.
Yeah.
Some streamers do instrumental stuff. Some streamers are just really good at their game and know how to be entertaining doing it. And just
some streamers aren't even entertaining; they're just good at the game, and that's what draws you in.
Exactly.
That's what draws you in.
That consistency and just learning that stuff from early on would have helped us develop our craft a lot better than what we have now.
And I feel like that's something you just learn along the way, right?
Exactly.
You just learn along the way. You don't have to. Yeah, experience is a big thing. It's not like you have to go out your way to study those things to then do those things. It's that you just pick it up naturally along the way. And I feel like that's a factor that deters people from pursuing what they want to do, right? Because they want to be perfect. They want to be perfect right before they start.
But they just need to start.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
And everything else will come in, like experiences to build. You see where you need to change up what you're doing here. Especially if you're being a YouTuber, you'll see the analytics there. It's all given to you.
Yeah, that's true.
And it depends on really just when you get started. It just kind of goes up from there. You learn along the way.
True.
If you don't get started, you don't really get the experience. You don't know what you're doing, and you'll never know what you're doing if you just stay hesitant.
Stay scared. Fear is the number one controlling factor in people not pursuing their dreams, and that's so sad. There's a thing my mentor told me, Ronald, and it sounds so cliche and just like movie-esque, but I'll always remember it. It's when, and this is kind of getting a little bit personal, but I was having a moment in my life during Facebook, when I used to work at Facebook, where I just wasn't feeling mentally well. And I had a one-on-one session with Ronald, and he called me into his office, and I told him about how scared I am not succeeding in getting converted at Facebook, not being able to support my family, yada, yada, all that suppy bullshit, right? And he looked at me dead in my eye, and he said, fear can mean one of two things: forget everything and run, or face everything and rise.
Oh my goodness.
And I will never forget. I got chills right now. I swear to God, I just got chills.
I just got chills too.
I will never forget that day he told me that, because that day solidified. And even though I do lack every now and again, that solidified that if I want to go get something, I can't be scared about getting it. That was a message for all y'all out there, whoever's listening. You can't let fear dictate your life. And it's so much easier said than done. It's so much easier said than done.
Especially when you have habits that you just built up, and
hell yeah,
habits are hard to break. 100%.
Oh, much.
And I'm facing that right now pretty badly. That takes me into my some of the things I've been thinking about recently in terms of getting into content creation is I've been thinking about who is it that you watch, that you aspire to, and you see their personalities and you think to yourself, personality, how can I make myself more of a people person, especially for all those who are introverted.
Yeah.
They don't know how to get into their content creation they want to get into. And so, I mean, the lack of people skills and social skills, you don't really know what you're going into. Trying to develop those skills, it might be tough for people who spend their life just avoiding human interaction and that's not everybody. I mean, people still go out and even the introverts know how to interact properly with people and just have social life and all that stuff. But on a bigger scale, especially when you're starting off with kind of nothing, you don't really have an audience. It's kind of scary. It's kind of embarrassing when you, for some people at least. I'm definitely in that boat.
Mm-hmm.
How do you step out of your shell to get what you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough thing to look at.
I feel like it's a very scary situation in the fact that there's a fine line between building confidence and stepping out of your shell and just faking a personality, right?
Exactly.
Because
if you fake a personality, that's all people will ever know you for, and it feels fake.
And it's hard. It's really hard.
And you'll find that people, if you do blow up off of that, you'll find that people don't want to come there for your real personality. They're coming for that act.
That act. Oh, I've seen back in the day when like vlog channels were a really big thing, like boyfriend and girlfriend vlogs, BF vs GF.
I remember that.
They would fake an entire personality for their audience because that's what their audience loved, and that it consumed them so much that when it was time to just be real, they couldn't, and it just tore them down. But in terms of what you're speaking of, like breaking out of your shell and coming from an introverted aspect and mindset, how do you successfully let me put quotations around that, right? Because nobody can really define the success of breaking out of an introverted shell, and that's where I think it comes down to how you view all of this in a nutshell, right? Because there was a video by Peter McKinnon I was watching recently. He released it like 2 years ago, and it was titled "How to Vlog," and a big portion of that video was trying to emphasize the point of never bullshitting yourself. Be unauthentically yourself and don't give a fuck about what people think about you. And that's so it sounds really cliche because people always say don't give a fuck about what people think about you, right? But when you really hone in on the fact that if you want to build an audience and if you want to chase your dreams and pursue your passions, you really have to let go of the idea of needing to impress other people.
Yeah.
Because your validation should not come from other people. It should come from your self-fulfillment of knowing that you're doing what you love. So build your confidence. If someone can definitely build their confidence, and there's ways to go about that, right? But don't let it get to the point where you're seeking validation from those by faking something that you're not.
Exactly. The confidence part for the introverts who have a habit of hiding in their shell, sometimes maybe it's not the confidence. Maybe some of those introverts, they have the confidence, they just don't know how to be entertaining. And so that's one thing. I mean, if you're an introvert and you don't know how to be entertaining, it's probably because you're not seeking that human interaction as often as much as introverts or extroverts would probably do. Extroverts, a lot of them, they seek out the human interaction often, and they want to be in social events, go out to parties, or maybe just meet up online somewhere. If you don't have that as an introvert, if you don't break out of the shell and do the same things, how do you be entertaining? Where do you build that personality and practice being a socially active content creator, like streamer or YouTuber? That's one thing that's tough to get into for someone who has those habits. But you have to start somewhere. Find out the resources that you can take. Study. Watch those videos, get a deeper dive, look into them, see what the interaction looks like, see what people do, how they talk to others. Join those events, play some games with people, just meet new people in general. If you just stay inside in your room all day, you're not really getting much done.
You're not. That's true. It does start with you. It does start with yourself. It does start with taking the first step. But I feel like, and I don't want to give false input and be like, this is how you do it, because I have no idea how the fuck to do that.
Exactly.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't
so I'm
either.
not going to tell people how to do it, right? But the way I look at it and my perspective is that, and I think this is me trying to be overtly wholesome, but it's like, who gets to define entertaining, right? Because my friend that I find so incredibly hilarious might be the boringest person to you, and you don't like the way he speaks, right?
Yeah.
So who gets to define entertaining? And I'm sure, and this sounds like all these people who say, oh, let the world have world peace. Shut the fuck up. But it's more of the fact that I really feel like there is a selective group of people who, no matter what you do, will find you entertaining because of your raw personality.
And yeah, if they relate, it's much easier to get into someone and just enjoy
relation. Oh my God, being able to relate to someone, bro. That's a whole discussion all on its own. But like being able to look up to someone and relate to them will make an audience keep coming back to them over and over and over. That's where authenticity is extremely vital.
That's one of the things I'm trying to study right now. Like just watching a person be a character online.
Yeah.
And sometimes people will put a little bit of an act on with their true self. But watching them constantly and then finding those few moments of those slivers of light when their human side shows, when they're actually and they're most vulnerable in some states.
True.
Seeing that is what makes a lot of people want to get into it.
True.
Especially myself. Just seeing that and being able to relate, it makes me feel like I can do that too and have fun with everybody and just get into it.
Yeah.
So I'm studying that. Looking at other factors too. I wrote a bunch of notes down. Let me take a look at this actually. I've been wanting to talk about some of these things. Like for me, when I wanted to get into it, what kind of videos do I want to make? And I have a bunch of notes jotted down here saying what kind of videos do you want to do reviews or tutorials, documentaries, those kind of videos. People will come to those and they're probably looking for that content originally. But once they get into it, if you built your personality, you're more of a social person, they'll see that shine through your videos, the tutorials, documentaries, reviews, and they'll want to stay there for you. They're not going to always stay there for the content, but they'll see that how much passion you have for that subject stay for you. That's one thing I've been looking into. And I've been looking into other factors of why people don't want to get into that kind of thing in the first place or why they're hesitating. Breaking down that shell we talked about. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of other factors that play into it, at least for myself, as to why I'm an introvert in the first place. So, I mean, looking at the roots, I'm sure that'll help people get in, or at least help them focus on what they need to think about or work on to improve and actually jump into it and make them want to actually get into the content creation.
True.
I mean, that's what I've been looking at. I don't know if that's what everyone else is thinking. Not everyone's an introvert, of course.
That's true.
That's another thing I didn't consider. What's it like for an introvert to jump into it?
That's true.
So for the people who are extroverted and they are jumping into it, it's worth thinking about that too, to see what resources they're using to actually learn and where to start.
Yeah, I feel like some people are just more confident turning on a camera and just talking, right? Versus some people who I feel like they're caught up in their own mind that if I don't be like this, then I won't get blank, right? If I don't be like this, I won't get the validation. If I don't be like this, I won't get views, right? And I feel like it comes down to a mental battle within your head and I don't know how to do this, but it's a battle that you have to win and just get over. Because if you keep getting caught up in the fact that if I need to be like this, then I need to obtain this, you'll never start in the first place. Because you'll be so much, like kind of like, I feel like I feel like people are taking a really meticulous approach to content creation and putting themselves out there, because if they don't get it right the first time, or they don't live up to the idealistic standard that they have in their head, that it's just not worth doing in the first place.
Yeah. I'm getting into the, I'm in the phase where I am in the do now, so that I can learn the how to along the way too. So that's why I'm starting to make videos pretty soon, thinking about ideas, putting them into practice. I've been looking at a lot of resources, videos. I even actually got into Skillshare.
I remember you talking to me about that. Yeah,
it's not
you don't think it's worth it?
Skillshare, it's okay. There are some people that, or some teachers that do put out like tangible content or tangible actions that you can try to take. A lot of what I've seen so far has just been conceptual ideas, which you can find on YouTube.
Conceptual ideas. Elaborate. Tell me more.
I mean, maybe not conceptual ideas, but just like in one example, I looked into acting, to just try to find any kind of tangible talents I can develop myself. Most of the big ones, the classes that have the most followers or students, are ideas or techniques that you can also search up online on YouTube without having to pay for it. Like practices, like just developing the ability to get into, what's the term again? I forgot. The term that people, when you just act on the spot, what's it called? Improvising. There's a couple of techniques of improv, developing how to show emotion in certain scenes.
Okay.
Like, for example, one thing that I saw, one of the teachers
pay for that. You can come on YouTube. Exactly,
that's what I'm saying. One of the teachers was talking about a technique that you just repeat the same lines over and over again in different emotions with someone else. You can find that on YouTube, yeah. Practice that with others.
Yeah.
So there are different resources, not just YouTube or Skillshare. You can go on any kind of forum. There are dedicated sites to your craft that you're looking to get into. There's a lot of resources. If you find some of your favorite artists or content creators, if you follow them on social media anywhere else besides just YouTube, sometimes they'll have good ideas on Twitter, or maybe they're on Instagram. You just see the art inspires you.
True.
It just depends on where you're looking.
True.
And I'm trying to look as many places as I can find, just to start somewhere.
So what is the sole reason that you got Skillshare? And is that because you want to study those methods to try and break out of that introverted shell? Is that why?
Yeah, that's pretty much
okay.
One reason. I mean, not just looking at the introverted shell, but actually making myself develop some skills that I actually want to implement to make myself stand out a little bit. Because if everyone just wants to get into making YouTube videos or playing games on stream, how does that make
saturated as
exactly? How does that make you any different from everybody else? Your passion in my show, yeah. But that only goes so long. It only goes so far.
You have to have unique traits or abilities, or just something about yourself that makes people want to keep coming back. But again, it's just that dangerous fine line of like, when does it become fake and when is it authentic?
And also, when does it become something about what people come to, what you're making, your content, your subject, or are they coming for you also?
Yeah. Exactly. I never want to get caught up in that. I like how we're talking about this like we're like professional YouTubers.
We're not.
With like years experience. Bro, I have like
that's just something that I keep thinking about after trying to get into it. Something that's just talked about pretty often.
I think it's like a self-intervention.
I think even bigger YouTubers, they think this about themselves often too.
I wouldn't doubt it. Man, they're already in the game. So I think it's kind of like a healthy conversation to have with yourself if it's something you want to do and want to get into. But on that topic, passions and hobbies. Because for me personally, back when I was like 8 years old, back in our cousin's house, pointing that little MacBook Pro at our Nintendo DS and recording Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, like that was my passion, and I put those videos out there for myself because I found it fun. I got so much thrill in playing that game. I got thrill in editing, and I got thrill in posting, right?
Right.
As of lately, like in my latest YouTube video, I kind of talked about how like, and there could be very different factors that I'm not aware of, but I don't have drive for anything anymore. I don't have drive to create, to edit, right? It's kind of a oxymoronic standpoint because I see my camera and I want to pick it up and I want to create. I have that internal thought, but then right after I have the thought of, damn, then that means I have to shoot B-roll. That means I have to turn my camera on and talk. Damn, that means I have to edit. Damn, that means I have to post.
Yeah.
So it's like, it may just me being lazy, or it may just me having external factors that I'm not aware of, but I feel like I don't know what my passion is. And I'm stuck in a slump where do I find that? Because with me, in a perfect world, what I would like to do is speak to an audience of people live saying, I don't know, motivating shit. I don't know, something I'm good at and get paid for it, right? Like a TED Talk almost, right? Like some Gary Vee type shit. But that's not going to be me anytime soon in the future. I'm not going to be a fucking public speaker talking at TEDx, right? And I just want that to happen easily. Someone calls me up, yeah, we need you for the show. Come through. Crowd of 30,000. Can you do it? Fuck yeah. Perfect world. But I know that's not the case, and that just depresses me even more because now I just don't want to put in the work to do it. So it's hard, you know. How do you
There-
find?
there's
your
something
passion?
that there's something that my doctor told me one time when I was a couple of years ago, probably no, probably even a decade ago. Tell me that mm, he's told me I had to work out, I had to exercise.
Yeah.
I told him I don't have the energy. He looked at me. He said, "The energy comes while you're doing the work." So, I mean, the passion you might not feel it at the moment, and like your dream of being a TED talker, for
Yeah.
example, that is attainable. You just have to start somewhere, and in that process, the energy will keep coming, and you'll keep finding that drive and passion come through. At least for a lot of people, that's the case.
Yeah, you have to get over that resistance first. That
The
resistance of life
hesitation,
that's
yeah,
pushing
Just-
you back. You have to be the one that pushes forward and tries to get over that smaller hurdle. Because I remember, like, months ago when I made that productivity video, right?
yeah.
Fuck, that was such a nice, like, 2-week period of my life where I was shooting all that B-roll. I was editing. I was doing all my
must have been fun.
things, bro. I got my new lights and everything. You know, I set that shit up. Like, it was nice. It was super fun. And that's because I got past the first initial resistance. But then I took my little hiatus. I didn't post for like 4 months straight. And
Yeah.
that resistance of life was ever so more present than it ever has been. And I feel like there's no like distinct way to ever get over that slump. It's literally, and I hate when people like try to like find cool, trendy ways to go about it. You just have to get over that fucking slump, bro. And if you don't, you don't.
And I know people listening to this are probably thinking that the slump is probably the hardest part. No, probably not the hardest part. It's after you get back. Let's say you take a break, a month-long break, for example. We always talk about, or you hear YouTubers talk about often, how being absent for any sort of time, that gap, people forget about you, and it'll be even harder for people to find your videos, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of factors, I'm sure, as to why people are hesitant about getting into it.
Yeah.
That one of them, and the algorithm. They're fighting against multiple forces.
Bro. It's always the algorithm, bro.
But I mean, regardless, as long as you keep making those videos, you'll get somewhere eventually.
You're bound
I
to.
mean, it's those videos that at least, I mean, hopefully it'll stay this way. Those videos that are posted on somewhere, it doesn't even have to be videos, just any kind of content anywhere.
Mhm.
YouTube, Twitch is probably a bad example, but Twitter,
TikTok.
that stuff will stay there for a long time, and people will find them. I mean, it's gonna get recommended. You see
Yeah.
videos
With
from
the
like 8
way.
years ago from big YouTubers
Exactly.
constantly getting
All the
recommended.
time, like,
So
I could get
weird
from
seeing
fucking 8 years
MKBHD's
ago,
video of like him reviewing the HP Pavilion.
Yeah. Like random shit like that. The algorithm is almost set up in a way to like make sure you get some sort of exposure. Like with TikTok. I post dumb shit on TikTok, but I post one video and it got like 300,000 views, like 200,000 likes. And it's just like you just keep have to pumping that content out to actually hit the algorithm once in a while. But that's the other conversation of consistency. You have to be consistent with it. And if you're not consistent, you're not going to get anywhere.
That might be the case. One thing I heard about from a couple of other big YouTubers I've been following about what I think they're called streaming doctors or something like that.
That's the most entitled fucking name I've ever heard for anybody.
Well, anyway, they were saying not just this one YouTuber I'm looking at, but I think I was watching MKBHD's Skillshare class.
Yeah.
He was saying consistency is inherently a good thing, but for smaller people or people starting out, worrying so much about that schedule might hurt you a little more than you think, because burnout will come in pretty quick,
Yeah.
especially for people who don't get that kind of traction on their videos that quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I also hear about other YouTubers talking about how that sometimes analytics can give you a burnout.
Oh yeah, always.
And
Always.
so there's those things. Yeah,
Always.
it's there. Shit, I just lost my train of thought too.
I hate when that happens, right?
So
It's
often.
so fucking annoying. But yeah, the burnout becomes inevitable from multiple factors, right?
Yeah, that's part of the scheduling for smaller people. But once you get past just getting your ideas, and you can probably just ignore the scheduling or the consistency at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
so it doesn't burn you out, and then build up your ideas and your foundation, your experience. Just learn what you can from the whatever content you put out there. Who likes what. Where, like, I think a good example is YouTube's video retention.
Mm-hmm.
It shows you where people drop off at, and so you can see the spikes and wherever people keep reverting back to what they want to see.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that, pick it up, and people want to see this. They reverse to this. They saw the A/B comparison on this one product. Let's have more of that in our next video. That
True.
kind of thing. So you learn. I honestly think that after going through at least on KVHD's class on Skillshare, it's the only one I had.
Yeah.
It's encouraging. Once you start and you see what you can learn from what you've made out there prior, I think that's an encouragement, or it helps you get a little more passionate and just drive.
You can either let it work with you or against you. Either you can see the analytics and see the drop off rate and be like, "Fuck, I'm not entertaining."
Yeah, that's true.
Or be like, "That's what they dropped off at this part of my video. I talked about this. Let me remove that." But it's all about that mental battle. So it's like you really have to change your perspective on the way you look at things. And I feel like a lot of people are inherently, and it sucks, but I feel like a lot of people are inherently negative with the way they think.
The glass half empty.
But yeah, they're glass half empty type of bitches, bro. You gotta be glass half full type of bitches, bro. I'm telling you, bro. As soon as you become a glass half full type bitch, life gets so much easier. Because you can look at any kind of situation, but try to make it the best you can. Always. Like, oh shit, I'm 20 minutes late for work. Since I'm 20 minutes late for work, might as well get me a donut on the way. Like, you know?
I don't know if that's the best example to use.
That, bro, I'm telling you, you're already 20 minutes late. An extra 5 minutes to get you a nice ass fucking donut, that's not gonna hurt no one, bro.
No one. If someone if your boss sees that donut, he's probably gonna be like, "What?"
That's why you eat it on the way. Alright, you gotta be smart about this shit.
I mean, I guess you have a point there.
Yeah, but we're nearing 45 minutes. But I think this was a really, really healthy discussion, and I know I said it before. I kind of look at it as a self-intervention because I've really been inconsistent with the way I do these things. And I know you've been seeing me try to push everyone else, be like, get the fuck on my podcast so I can create. Because I can't do a solo podcast. But this felt like a self-intervention in terms of how I can get over the hump. And I really feel like you talked about it yesterday, having a partner. Like doing this shit with friends is fucking fun.
Especially starting out.
Hell yeah, dude. This shit is fucking fun. Like, I love this shit. Like, come back tomorrow, bro. Let's do another fucking episode. Like, this shit is fucking fun, bro. So it's like having a partner to do this stuff with you to get you over that initial hump, it does make it feel a lot better. So I'm really glad you were able to join me today.
I'm glad I was here.
Dude, this is actually really fucking fun, dude. And I'm glad we actually recorded too, because the one that I did with Owen, we didn't record first. So you are the first exclusive little type shit. But usually I'm kind of making it a tradition to end off each podcast, kind of cliche in a way that's motivating to others with a quote. You didn't watch the first episode with Owen. I mean,
oh, my bad. I'm sorry about
that's
that
all
one.
good. I thought my friends support me. But for today, I think what's applicable, because it's about chasing your dreams and your desires and your passion, would be think about where you would be if you started. Fuck, I kind of butchered it. I want to make it poetic, but it goes something along the lines of, think about how far you would have been if you started then when you said, I'll start tomorrow. So don't wait till tomorrow.
Start now.
Start now. Do you have anything else you want to say before we end off?
I think that's about it for me. Nothing I want to plug, and nothing to plug right now. Looking forward to that, though.
Yeah. Oh, eventually. Oh, yeah. I don't really have anything else to say. I just want to say, just keep going. Stick to your dreams. The journey of 1,000 steps starts with one. So do you, bro. I believe in you.
Do it.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Love you.
Love you.